There was a recent survey that broke the internet talking about how many Uncrustables NFL teams consume, which is like a small nation could eat that many.
We used to have like 4 different types of PB&Js. Our little lunch ladies, they would make these. Tom used to just eat he would never eat the crust. I remember that. I think he would just eat the white part of it and he'd leave the crust. Welcome to Games with Names. I'm Julian Edelman. They're Jack and Kyler. And we're on a mission to find the greatest game of all time. So buckle your seatbelts and get ready and let's go, because it's the 6th day of Hanukkah. The new year is coming here tonight. On today's episode, we are going to go back some of the greatest, funniest, best moments of all of our shows of last year. One of those cool memory episodes.
A little walk down memory lane. We've had a great year.
2024 was awesome, and we're celebrating 2024.
And on today's episode, we're going to reminisce, going through some of our best moments. We'll start by reminiscing with the old Matt Light Belichick email. I mean, that thing broke the internet. That was so funny.
I'll read it for you. It's literally my prized possession, yeah.
Then we'll get Terry Bradshaw getting into practice fights. Some of the funniest stories here in those old guys.
You may lose with me. You never win without. You got that?
Then we go with the legendary Ernie Adams.
When it's football now, I mean, it's dead-ass serious, 100% every time.
So you got to stick around to the very end, guys.
Let's go.
Happy New Year. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. The year was 2024, the Nuthouse, Los Angeles, California.
Super Bowl champs, NBA champs, Oscar winners, team owners, and wrestlers?
And we're still on the search for the greatest game of all time.
This is Games with Names, the best of 2024.
2024 is a good year. A lot of stuff happened. Started this year with some great episodes. Had some fun times, some not fun times. Do you have a favorite moment?
The live show, man. We sold out the Wilbur.
Wilbur
2
twice.
shows.
Yeah.
That was incredible. We had Ernie Adams on here. Before anyone had Ernie Adams on. We went to Vegas, man. We've been everywhere.
Vegas.
We went to the Hamptons and hung out with Bon Jovi.
Bon
He had his own
Jovi.
house. He
You're
had us as a
taking this
guest in his
thing on
house.
the road. Did Boston.
Bon
Anytime,
Jovi,
any
Vegas,
place.
Hamptons.
Pull up.
The roast was fun, and having all
Yeah.
from the roast, Bledsoe and everyone, light. Great year.
Nikki,
Great
what
year.
a year.
Jim Craig, Miracle on Ice.
Oh,
Craig.
my
Fucking
gosh. Do you believe in
Elevator
miracles?
pitch game. Danny DeVito. Fucking Danny
Fucking
DeVito.
Danny
Casey
DeVito.
Affleck.
Academy Award winners in here.
I just keep on seeing
Thespians.
little windshield wipers on his glasses because they're so juicy, those sandwiches at, what is it?
Jersey Mike.
Jersey Mike's.
They're so juicy.
Awesome.
Remember he has those little windshield wiper glasses?
Let's do quick New Year's resolutions, and then we'll kick into some of these clips.
All right. You go first, Jackie.
For the resolution?
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is tough. Maybe glaze a little less? I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was about to say.
Can
man.
you imagine? Can you imagine a world
No,
like that?
I
That would
can't.
stink. I want to be a better golfer. I want to break 90. It's more of a goal than a resolution.
What about you, Kyler?
This is a real one, and I've actually been saying this to Jack the last couple of weeks. I'm going to try to be more positive.
Did you put the Grinch hat on ice?
Good
for
chat.
the year?
Yeah. I got it out of my system last episode.
Oh, man.
I'll be more positive in 2025.
I like it.
I want to try. No one asked me, but I'll just say.
I'm going to...
I'm gonna try. I wanna honestly work on my communication skills in so many different ways.
If you had to pick someone to model your communication goals after, who would that be? Who's the best communicator? Like, who is the pinnacle of communication?
Brady was pretty good at communicating.
I could see that.
Like if I had some funk with him, or if, I wasn't getting, like he would sit you down like, all right, what's the deal? He knew how he could have uncomfortable conversations. I'm not really good at those. I need to work on that. I need to improve. And then overall, just improvement. Continue in patience. I need a lot more patience.
It's a virtue.
I need more of that too.
You know what I mean? So that's what New Year's is good for.
Yeah.
Amen.
Fresh start. Get to try to make the best version of yourself this next year.
Reflect.
reflect. A lot of that. A lot of reflection.
Good year.
Amen.
Good year.
2024 and 2025. Going to be some good stuff 2025.
What do we got now?
Let's do it.
Who could forget Matt Light's wild appearance in the Nuthouse?
We were trying to decide which was the best moment for Matt Light, and we almost just put the whole episode.
Yeah, just
Yeah, I agree.
Can you
From-
imagine this episode? Just like,
From hunting in the woods behind Gillette to pranks galore.
oh my goodness.
This was an instant
the
classic.
gargoyle.
Oh, I wonder where Briggs is. Briggs, we want to get you on. Get your side of the story.
That dang mouse, he had that mouse more
Oh.
all over the screen.
Sorry.
Zapper. Mental error.
The infamous prank that he pulled on Bill.
Let's look back at that one.
So yeah, we got the Matt Light prank on Coach Belichick. Let's go back to that.
Let's go check it out.
And Bill's kind of pissed off. Like,
Yeah, what did you do? I heard that story once. You went into his office, and what did you do?
so I had this remote, right? And again, this is back in the day when this stuff didn't really exist, but I was always surfing the net, and it was a mouse, and it plugged in actually, but it didn't do anything when you plugged it in. You couldn't actually control the mouse, but there were, I don't know how you get this much energy out of 2 AAA batteries, but those 2 AAA batteries, when you hit that mouse button, it would send like Jesus through your body, like real quick. And so he was in a staff meeting. It was in training camp, and nobody was there. So I slip in, and I'm on my way out. They're still working really hard trying to make us better. And I go in there and I put that thing on his laptop on his desk. I come in the next morning, dying, neck's killing me. It's like the start of training camp. I'm not even thinking about what I did the night before. And Bears is like, immediately when I walk in, he's like, not good. like seriously, like, and you can see in his eyes, like,
And Bears the Bears.
the bear, he not good. And I'm like, what? And but I know what he's saying, right? But I'm like, what are you talking about? Deny till you die. And he's like, just telling you, it's not good, man. What happens is not good. And I'm like, hey, look, I can't play this game right now. I got to go get ready. So I walk into the meal room, and when I walk in there, Matty P is just got some toast or something, and he turns around and he sees me, and he's like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you too? And he's like, hey, man, he's fired up, and because of your dumb ass, we spent like 2 more extra hours here last night. And I'm like, for what? And he goes, I know it was you. And when he shocked himself the first time, he had his hand off the keyboard. The second time, his hand hit the keyboard and it deleted his notes. You know how he takes notes every single day of everything.
Everything.
Like, hey, by the way, this is crazy, man. Here's a great example. Let's say we're playing the Jets and it's Monday afternoon, so we're playing a divisional game, right? We're coming off a loss on the road, and we have a 2 key players on defense that went down. He'll go back in his notes and do keyword search or something, and he'll find a scenario that mimics that almost to a T, and then he'll look and see, how did I address the team? Did I go hard on him? Did I take it easy on him? Did I push him? And how hard did I push him? Did we practice a certain way? What was the outcome? How did it come out? All that stuff gets analyzed, man. That's the craziness and the complexity that a lot of people don't realize. I don't know how much that weighs in his success or whatever else, but that's who he is, right? So now, by the way, first time he didn't have his hand on the keyboard. Second time he shocked himself, he did, and it closed down the program. The way I look at that is, you're an error repeater. The first one was my fault. Second one, that's your fault. Now, we didn't talk about that, but I will say this. When he lost that was not a good day, because it wasn't like autosave, apparently. So all of his notes for that day apparently went bye-bye. And what I thought was real. So I wanted to go get my mouse, but I left that thing in there, buddy. Once I heard about that one, I was like, yeah, that thing's gone.
What did he say to you?
Literally, he said something like, he stopped me. And by the way, Bill's kind of like Tommy. Like, I have no idea how Tommy got from one meeting room to the next. I don't know if he floated in the atmosphere. He like became particles and just reappears like in weird places. Obviously, he didn't shower. Tommy never showered.
Never.
Nobody ever saw him in there. Weird.
Well, actually, I see him a couple times. He'd have the 2 shower heads on him. Remember, he would be in the corner sometimes.
Rarely.
And he
Typically
would do
after a
2
game.
shower heads. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you had 2 showers?
I know. And neither one of those heads wanted to be pointed to him.
No.
Seriously. Like, the water was like, he's hydrophobic. Like, water doesn't like him.
I mean,
or something.
you got to think about it. He probably goes to like his sick home where like he's got like hydrogen-based water.
Listen, I think he has to wash him every day. I think so. Seriously.
That's Alex.
Alex Guerrero, yeah.
Little tiny hands. Like,
So what did Bill say?
hey, man, he was fired up. He basically told me, if you go in my office again, I will kill you. And, of course, I denied it. I'm like, Coach, what are we even talking about? He's like, you know exactly what we're talking about. I really don't. I said, but I'm going to get some food here. I'll see you in the meeting room. But it was weird because Matty P came at me and so did Bears. And I thought they were, like, flipping it on me, right? Like, oh, we're going to make him think that, Coach is really fired up. No, Coach, because Dante was the last one. Because, Dante doesn't mess around. Dante was real matter of fact.
What did Scar say?
he's like, I don't think that was a good idea. You probably shouldn't go in the head coach's office. And I'm like, you too? I'm like, I don't know what you're even talking about.
So did you deny it till forever?
Forever. But that's so again, we didn't have a conversation about it. It wasn't like at some point he came to me and was like, hey, that shit was kind of funny. You got me. If that shit hurt. Like, I'd be cool to acknowledge any of this. Like, hey, Bill, remember that email you sent me? Like, that was funny. But there's a part of me that believes, like, what he reiterated on his concluding remarks email, that he was kind of serious. You know what I'm saying?
Dead serious. Bill he was notorious for fucking quizzing us on spot. And I could have sworn Matt Light was sleeping in a meeting. And Bill tried to catch Matt. And he goes, Matt, you got all the fucking answers.
That's exactly what he said, actually. I was just going to say that.
Matt, you got all the fucking answers. What coverage is that? And you hit the coverage. What was it, like 2 blitz zone 2C?
It was like the square root of an isosceles triangle is equal to the opposite. Yeah. I'm like, and everybody turns around and they're like, because they know I sleep. Like, I sleep.
Yeah.
I slept through every meeting. And I don't, honestly, my wife was like, you're going to get fired like my first year. I remember Dante Scarnecchia, my line coach, would make me stand up in the meeting room when we had our offensive line meetings, and I would fall asleep eating a candy bar, trying to stay awake eating a candy bar, fall asleep standing. And he would be like, Light, if you fall asleep one more time, I will kill you. And I'm like, oh, man, like I'm a rookie. I didn't know what was happening. On that one, though, so this is the greatest, right? So notorious sleeper. Copen would kick me. He sat right behind me. He would always feed me the answer, too, because I don't know what Bill just said. I was asleep. And so, and by the way, like football, like, yes, we're a bunch of Neanderthals, but like I don't need to watch that 700 times. Like all we do is sit and rewind, watch. So on this one, if you think on that season, we had a bunch of young guys, and defensively, as you know, the defense could get everything wrong. Bill would be like, all right, look, what are we expecting? He'd be talking to the offense in this situation. What are we expecting them to do? I mean, it's 3rd down. We're in the red zone. I mean, we got, whatever. We got trips. And he'd ask somebody a question, and it'd be like a really difficult question. Yeah. And we would come up with an answer that's pretty good. I mean, he'd be like, no, what the fuck? That's not what they're going to do. I mean, God damn it. Have you watched an ounce of film? And then he would go to the defense, and he'd be like, all right, guys, like, what's 1 + 7? And they'd be like, 6.5. And they'd like, oh, that's pretty close, pretty good. All right, now moving on. I'm like, what are we talking about, Coach? Like, those guys have no idea.
What color are their jerseys?
Right.
Like, he would give some fucking terrible, he'd give the easiest questions, these fucking defensive guys.
And they always got to pass.
Always.
Every time. So I'm listening to this, and I'm like, these cats have no idea. And Bill's kind of pissed off. Like, we had a couple weeks of coming in, and I want some answers. It's a Wednesday morning, right? And you better have my answers, right? Well, they weren't having it. So I go on my way out. Well, I don't know why. I just had this epiphany. And I walk into Coach's office, which is always awkward. Like, you don't go in there just to go in there.
Oh, no.
And you got to pass Bears, the little man purse right there at the front, right? And I love Bears. But, so anyway, I go in there. Coach is working at his computer, and he looks up at me. He's like, like there wasn't a question. It was just like and I'm like, and I right then immediately I'm like, why did I do this? This is not going to be, I'm like, Coach, hey, listen, I'm like, these guys don't have the answers. They're not coming in with stuff. I said, I thought it'd be funny if like, next time we do this, like on next Wednesday or whatever, you throw me some questions and I'll just rattle them off. It'd be like shit that even Brady wouldn't know. And he's like, all right, what are you thinking? And I'm like, you say something, then I rattle off an answer, then you try to hit me with another one, try to catch me slipping, and I'll just keep rattling them off, and all the guys are going to, and that way now they're going to know, like, I got to get in the film room. If Light knows this shit, then I really need to do a little bit more studying. And it fell on deaf ears, dude. He was just like, all right, look, I mean, no, like it wasn't like a, hey, that sounds like a great idea, or that's really stupid. It was just like indifferent. So I walked out of there thinking, all right, that failed. 3 weeks go by. I'm walking in and Bear's like, hey, Bill wants to see you. And I'm like, oh, snap, what did I do? Like, I totally forgot about the whole conversation, right? And I'm not kidding you. I walk in his office, and immediately he goes, all right, look, I'll hit you with, what they're doing on third down, and then I'm gonna talk to you about, when we get into the red zone, what that looks like. And then the last one, I'm like, and he rattles off these 3 questions he's gonna ask me, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what's the answer? Like, I have no idea. Like, you're speaking like Swahili. I have no idea what you're even referring to, Bill. And he's like, oh, well, so I grab a pen and I start writing the answers on my hand. And we go in, team meeting kicks off, and he starts off with his typical, in the category of what we're not looking for. And it's some Bengals, problem with some guy getting arrested at a strip club or something. Always a Bengals player, right? I swear to God, always a Bengals player. And then he looks at me.
That's how we learned the Bengal formation. Yeah. The F was all the way in the inside because he was in jail.
In jail. That's
yeah.
Easy way to remember that.
Catch up.
So when he asked me, when he says exactly what you said, all right, like, you got all the fucking answers. All right, here we go. What are they doing this? And I literally just rattled it off immediately. I remember I could hear the air come out of Copen. He's like, shit, he's awake? And I didn't even know that one. So the next one he throws out there, I immediately answer that one. And the third one, I'm like literally looking at my hand, of course. And so when it's done and we leave the team meeting room, I remember the guys coming up to me and they're like, what the I'm like, hey, did you just get in the film room? Like I didn't acknowledge the fact that Bill and I set that up. And here's the best part, Jules. I've never had a conversation with Bill about any of the funny stuff that's ever happened between him and I.
Look at Matt Light. How did he stay on that team for so long?
It's incredible. The carte blanche he had around there is impressive.
Look, don't use big words, neither of us. Or what do you say? You or I understand. Oh, such a Bill. It's a Bill.
That was all time.
All right, what do we got here next?
On our next moment comes TV legend and former Pittsburgh Steeler, Ed O'Neill.
Ed, another great thespian.
Oh, I mean, I
4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns in 69?
66.
66. I don't know why, but did you see that one episode? Because we've had him on, all my algorithms have a lot of Ed O'Neill and Married with Children clips.
Great
the
algo.
one where he's playing softball and Peg's over there like, no, that's not him. You know what I mean? This guy's like, is that Al Bundy? And she tells her this huge story about it. I mean, I fucking love that show. I love that show. That was such a fun episode for us. Choked me out after the episode. Jiu-jitsu champion.
He trains with the Gracies, man. He's not one to be messed with.
Man, that was so fun.
All-timer.
That was an all-timer.
All right, well, let's go to Ed's story of his cup of coffee with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Let's do it.
This was not too long after I got cut,
Yeah.
so I was still following things pretty closely. And, I knew all about Franco Harris and those guys because they came a year after I got cut. And when I got cut, I said I got cut. I had a cup of coffee with them, basically.
Yeah.
That's about it. But, so I was still, sitting in the bar with my buddies watching these games.
Yeah.
And glad I wasn't playing at that point.
Yeah, but you had to be vested because you got drafted with Mean Joe Green. You got drafted with a lot of these Pro Football Hall of Famers. And so you got to enjoy, it was Chuck Noll's first year, right?
It was Noel's first year.
And so you got to, you had his first training camp. And you got to know these people. So you get vested because you have relationships with these guys, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was, it was very intense. You've been to those camps. I mean, I didn't make a whole lot of friends. It was
Job.
Yes.
Try to make the team.
But it was fun. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
As opposed to college. I mean, I don't know why you would think it would be the opposite, but I actually enjoyed the training down there.
Yeah, what people don't realize, because I was a very similar situation as you. You were a priority free agent, so they signed you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was a 7th round draft pick, which is the last round of our draft, which some would argue it's better to be a free agent because you get 2 years contract instead of locking you in for a third.
And you were a quarterback.
I was a quarterback.
Yeah.
But the mental aspect when you're on the team and there's 90 guys, they got to cut it down to 53. Yeah. And you're did you used to play the numbers game? You're sitting in training camp. Well, they're going to keep this guy. They're going to keep that guy.
Yeah. I had a situation where, I don't know if yours was the same as ours, but ours, the Steelers, they would put a board up, and if your name wasn't on it, you were cut.
Oh.
So it's kind of a nice way to do it. Your name, you don't see your name as this guy got cut. They, people don't know you. They don't even know you got cut.
Ed, it's completely changed nowadays.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you'll be sitting in a locker room and they have this guy who everyone calls the Turk. It's probably like he's like an offensive assistant of another assistant. And he comes up to your locker and he taps on your shoulder and he says, "Hey, head coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook."
Oh, no, I had that.
Oh,
see, they went through when it started out.
Okay.
They had so many guys.
Yeah.
That they cut the way I just mentioned. But then if you got along some, then it turned into, oh, by the way, Coach Snow would like to see you in his office. I'd bring your playbook. That's what happened to me.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, but then you know how nice they are to you when you go in there.
We're going a different route. You're just not in the plan.
Yeah. Well, with me, it was, you never played outside linebacker, and you're trying to make the team and learn the position at the same time. That's hard to do. I said, yeah. He said, well, I think I remember it as well, you can go to the Eagles if you want to, and they'll give you a good look. We'll rent a car for you. You can drive down the PA Pike. But I need to know right now. And I don't know what happened to my thinking. It was like, you're going to what? I want to drive a car to Philadelphia? No. I said, I'm done. I'm finished. Thanks a lot.
Wow.
That was it. But I was getting sick of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I played for 2 colleges. I had some knee problems. And I don't know what it was. I didn't even like Coach as much. I liked Noel. He was I didn't get to know him much, but he was a real gentleman, and I thought he was a nice guy. He was. But I had coaches in college I didn't like at all.
Yeah.
In high school, too. I had to start thinking maybe it was my fault. It was to that point.
Gee.
But I was finished. I said, he said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know, but not this. Hey. And then I remember when I went to my back to the dorm room, I had a roommate. His name was Clarence Oliver, San Diego State. He made the team as the defensive back. And I think he only played 1 year. I think he broke his back.
Ooh.
But he made it. But I went in, and he was like, what happened? I said, what do you think? So I was packing up, and the guy came in. They said, well, the car's out there. Where do you want to go? And I said, Pittsburgh. I'm not from Pittsburgh. And but I knew a friend in Pittsburgh. So I said, no, I'm going to Pittsburgh. And he says, okay, we'll drive you to Pittsburgh. It's Latrobe, PA. So he said, we'll swing by the stadium on the way out because your cleats are there in the locker. And we got a lot of swag for you. We got great jerseys and T-shirts and hats and shorts. And I said, I don't want any of that shit. He said, you don't want it's good stuff. I said, I don't want it. Am I going to wear it? I'm not wearing it. I don't want the cleats either. I'm not going to use them anymore. So he took me into Pittsburgh, and I had this rudimentary idea of where my friend lived. So I didn't want to go home.
Yeah.
Was what it was. So I directed
Why didn't you want to go home?
That was all screwed up. I thought, I don't want to go home and have to explain this.
100%.
So I said, it was still in the summertime. So I directed him up a street, and I saw a bar. It was a local bar with the door open. In the summertime, the door's no air, the door was open. I said, right here. My friend lives right around that bar. Just drop me off here. You sure? They kind of said, yeah, give me the bag. And adios. So I went in the bar, and it was like 2:00 in the afternoon. And there were like a couple of, locals. It was a local joint.
Yeah, yeah.
So I walk in. I'm 23 years old. They don't know me. I'm a stranger in this neighborhood. And they're looking like, who's this kid? I order a beer, and they got the TV up high, on the wall. And we're watching it, and the news comes on, and they're showing Armstrong walking on the moon.
Wow.
That's when I got cut. And I'm thinking, well, somebody had a good day. He had the golf club, right?
Yeah.
And I'm watching it. And then they went to the sports. And, of course, it's Pittsburgh. So they go, linebacker Ed O'Neill released today from the Steelers, and there's my picture. And these guys are in the bar, and they look. They go, you're Ed O'Neill. I said, yeah. And they said, your money's no good here. Now they're all buying me drinks. I end up at 3:00 in the morning in some car with some girl with a state hoopy pulling me over,
Yeah.
I don't even know my name at this point. And the guy looks in, and I think I had my shirt off, and you know, that was almost naked.
Yeah.
And I'm driving though, and he says, you know, I had my driver's license. He said, "Did you get cut today from Pittsburgh?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Miss, can you drive?" She said, "Yeah." He's just driving around, and he said, "Can you drive this guy home?" And she said, "I'll take him." He says he knows somebody, and he said, letting him go. Because it was, you know, it was Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh Steelers, they love them Steelers.
Even if you got cut, it doesn't make any difference.
You're still
right?
part of the team.
I
You're
know.
still part of the team.
Anyway, that's my. I don't think I've told that story ever.
So you were a defensive lineman in college?
I played
handsome Joker. Look at
middle
him.
guard on defense,
Okay.
and I played defensive end, and I played tight end in college.
Okay.
You know, I just went around like that.
So what was you said that you mentioned you were playing outside linebacker in Steelers camp. What was
Well, that's
that?
all you got. That's all they had for me. You know, I couldn't be a cornerback. I wasn't quick enough. I mean, I ran a 4.740
Wow.
in '68. That's my number though. But you know,
That's
I don't know,
fast.
I was about 230,
4.7,
4.7. Then
230. That's like a 260 guy running 4.6 now.
probably, and then I didn't.
But you guys
know-
didn't train for it. Like that
No.
was that was fast then.
I don't know.
You
about
only had a couple 4.4 guys on the team.
Well, you know, when I did, I narrated the thing on Peyton Manning. You know, that timeline, and it was so nicely written. I was very impressed with it. And this was not long ago, and I was struck by the fact that he was coached, and you were too, right? Your dad was a coach.
My dad was a coach.
And I mean, I was never coached. I don't think I was really ever coached. We just played pickup ball, and when we went to high school, there was coaches there, but it's a long story. They didn't really coach me.
Yeah.
It was just, my whole idea was knock the shit out of you, and I'll progress. So it wasn't the best way to learn football.
The game has changed now
Well, now
because
it's
that used to be the ultimate
Yeah.
equalizer
Yeah.
of the guy who
Even
made-
then, it didn't work right. Even then, it didn't work right because you could hit a guy like on a reverse. Say they run an end around and you're in and you got a clean shot.
Yeah.
And instead of tackling him, I would hit him with a forearm.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes they wouldn't go down. You know, they'd spin and keep going.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was like that. You know, it was like kamikaze football.
Well, that you would have been a great special teamer.
Probably.
He's outside. He's in the car.
I still
2
don't
in the morning.
understand why he didn't go to the Eagles camp. Different time, different era.
He was a Stiller.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a Pittsburgh Stiller.
He said, I'm done with this. I'm done with it.
Hey, thank God for all, or we wouldn't have had Al Bundy.
Amen. I'm glad that it played out the way it played
He's
out.
such a legend.
Dude, he
That
was
is a
awesome.
legend.
He's the best.
Hey, I'm going to talk about something serious for a minute. Something personal. Right now, in our country, hate is at an all-time high. It's like we're going backwards and hate is winning. It's out of control. So many different people, so many different groups are facing too much hate, and it's enough. We need to stop and regroup, change the momentum as a team because that's what we are. Everyone in this country is on the same team, so we need to start acting like it. And when a team can't get it together, what do? They call a timeout. We need to call a timeout against hate. Let's think about what we say and do. And when we see hate, when we see someone doing or saying those things we know are wrong and hateful, we need to call it out. Visit standuptoallhate.org to help. And join me in calling a timeout against hate by following @What'sUpWithHate or posting the blue square emoji. On our next moment comes from a Nuthouse East Classic. Current BC head coach, Games with Names listener, and one of my former offensive coordinators, Billy O'Brien, joined us. And boy, was it a treat. That was a treat. Looking at the time that we had together and all the fun stories, the little Tom Brady, Billy O exchange on the sidelines because of Taekwon Underwood's undercut, freaking in cut on the end line. I mean, it's instant class. Let's get into it. Let's check it out. That was a fun reminder,
Yeah.
the Tom event. And it was all, it was fun
Yeah,
to celebrate Tom.
no doubt.
How was it coaching them?
Yeah, no, I so basically I went from 08 wide receiver coach. Josh got the Denver job, and Bill, I'll never forget it. My wife and I were going out to dinner. We lived in Medfield, and we were going to the mall to California Pizza Kitchen.
CPK, baby.
Nice.
It was like a place we would go. And,
Fucking great.
And
Great
it was
barbecue
pouring
chicken
rain,
pizza.
and my phone rang, and it's Bill, and he's like, "Hey, listen, Josh is taking this Denver job. Listen, I'm going to make you the quarterback coach, but look, I'm not going to call you the coordinator, but you're going to do all that. Like you're going to do, like, just so you know, like you're going to script and you're going to do this and I'm like, okay, great. It was like a 2-minute conversation. That was it.
Look,
and I was like, hey, Bill, I appreciate it. All right, see you Monday. Hang up, boom, just keep going to California Pizza Kitchen. I hang up the phone. I turned to my wife and I was like, I think he just said I'm the quarterback coach. So it was just a great, that was a cool night for my family, and to have the opportunity to coach, obviously what we believe is the greatest quarterback of all time. When he was out on the West Coast and he came back for OTAs that year, 09, the year we drafted him. Yeah. I'll never forget this. He came in my office. He said, look, I want to be coached. He's like, look, don't waste my time, but I want to be coached. And he was right about that. And I learned a lot about, how he wanted to be coached, what he wanted to know. Like I can remember one of my first meetings, I was so prepared. I had this like book of like computer reports and I gave him this. I'm like, Tom, look at this book. And he's like, what is this? I want one sheet. I want one sheet that tells me boom, boom, boom. First, second down, third down, boom, fronts, pressures, red area, backed up, the whole thing. And I was like, oh my God. So, but from that point, I did the one sheet, and I use that one sheet to this day for quarterbacks because he wanted to be able to think quickly. He didn't want a big computer report. He was a guy that if you showed him that you could work with him, like you could take in his input and show him that you could work together to formulate a really good offense, like then you were going to have a great relationship. And I think that's why he and I got along so well, because we had our ideas, and then he would come in on Tuesdays with his ideas, and we would put those ideas into with ours, and I would put it all together. And then each night I would have to email it to him. And so I don't know if I think Josh probably do the same thing, but like, he went to bed early. So if it was like, Tuesday night for Wednesday morning, here's the game plan by 8 p.m. Here's the game plan for third down by 8 p.m. on Wednesday, for, red area 8 p.m. on Thursday, for the next day. But that forced you to work, get your work done, and be prepared. And then he would email back with, hey, I love this play. I don't really like this play. Hey, what do you think about this play? And it was just that type of relationship, and coaching him was awesome.
That's really cool to hear, and people don't realize Tom loves being coached. I mean, Billy O was probably so overwhelmed jumping into that thing because when I got there, they already had 3 Super Bowls. Yeah. They were already the Patriots. Yeah. And that was like, and I remember seeing him throw for the first day. Yeah. And I was like, man, this motherfucker can throw.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sight.
You know what I mean? When he was throwing, he threw a 2-hole shot to Randy or something, and Randy late-handed, and didn't even have his button chin strap buckled, and they look like pro A1, and to hear that he liked to be coached is awesome. Yeah. I mean, to the point where you coached, where you guys are damn near fist fighting on the sidelines. Billy O. Can we get into that?
No.
What happened there?
No, hold on now. I mean,
fist fight. Taekwon Underwood.
You were at practice. You know how practices are. Once again, going back to, you're really like brothers.
Yeah.
You really are with your assistant coaches.
Sometimes you just want to slap the shit out of your brother.
Exactly. So you can remember practices like when Bill would, make us use the headsets or whatever, or we wanted to use the headsets to practice for the game. And so, I'd be pressing the button and it wouldn't beep, like it would be screwed up. And maybe I'd be yelling at Donnie Brosher, and Tom would be out on the field like, you got to press the button. You're not pressing the button. You're not pressing the button. I took the whole thing and remember that day, and threw it at him. I'm like, you pressed the button. I'm pressing the button. The thing's broken, So these little fights.
Then they went to the remember? Then they went to the walkie-talkie.
The walkie-talkie. But I mean, these little things would come up. And so in that game, Dion had gotten hurt and leading up to that game late in the week, and we signed Taekwon Underwood, who now is like the receiver, or works with the receivers now. Yeah. We signed him late in the week, and we were driving the ball, and somebody else got hurt, so Taekwon had to go in, and we ran branch.
Yeah.
And he had the in cut. He was the X. And he didn't run a great in cut. He kind of faded. And Josh, what's his name? The corner for the Redskins undercut it. Tom kind of looped it in there. So we come over to the sideline, and Tom's, ripping Taekwon.
Oh, yeah.
And I can remember Wes like, all right, man, like, let's move on. Like, basically like, we all just got to move on.
We were frustrated because we weren't moving the ball well that game.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of shit that goes happening on the sideline.
Yeah. So then it just became, I don't want to get into all that was said, but like, hey, Tom, like, basically like, you need to shut the F up. We got to move on now because Grossman's driving the ball. We're going to possibly go to overtime. Yeah. And you remember who intercepted the pass to end the game was Gerard Mayo.
Yeah.
He
I
won
bumped
the
the
game.
guy. I was playing defense a goddamn week.
That's right.
That's my Taekwondo was in
Damn
there.
baby.
So, but anyway, so he said, you want me to shut? You shut. And then it was just like two 15-year-olders like just yelling, shut the F up back and forth to each other.
You
And
know
Bill
what?
came over
But
and was like,
I'll tell you right now, that was the brilliance of Billy O because he liked to fire guys up, and we all knew Tom liked to be fired up because we all know Tom plays better pissed off.
yeah.
Like that's the truth. And there's a lot of those Jedi mind tricks that I think that happened over there.
Yeah.
To piss him off because he played better pissed off.
Yeah.
It
didn't, you remember.
And
like,
the next day, no one.
it's like a 2-minute thing,
It
and then
happens. It happens.
it was over.
Game day is like a
Happens.
battle day, and I don't like making the comparison to the guys that do it, but shit happens.
Yeah.
Next day, you see him at the coffee line. How's the wife?
you don't even remember.
You don't
what
remember.
happened, right. Move on.
They don't call him tea kettle for nothing.
Hey, that's the heat of battle.
Heat of battle, and we love Billy O. Right after that episode we did that, he went out and had some big wins at Boston College.
He did.
Doing a great job this
Doing a
year.
great job. He's converted us into Eagles fans.
Hey, and hopefully he's getting the funding from the Pope.
Yeah, he was pretty coy about that, but
Yeah. I could see a little light
Catholics.
bulb go off.
Yeah, you Catholics over there. Those robes and shit. A lot of money over there.
NIL, baby.
Oh.
NIL.
I love when he came on too because we were like, oh, we got some timing. He's an active head coach. We're like, okay, let's try to fit him in the timing. And then like we were like done with the show and was like, I'm not done. You want a Randy Moss story? You want this story? Here's a story. Here's one. I was like, oh, that was the best.
Fucking Billy O's the
Dude,
best.
he's so cool.
we got to get him back on.
It was cool to have him and Josh
Back
back to back.
Yeah.
Brought back a lot of cool memories. Our next moment comes from a Vegas episode.
Viva
Las Vegas.
Viva.
We were in town for the Super Bowl, of course, and I had the pleasure of chopping it up with real deal Chiefs fan and SNL vet Heidi Gardner. Boy, does she know ball.
Certified ball knower.
She is a ball knower.
And those Chiefs fans, they know ball.
Well, here's us talking about NFL locker rooms at halftime. Take a look.
Would there ever be a player that took a shower at halftime?
Absolutely not.
I
I used to think it was weird when guys would take their pads off. Some guys would take their pads off
Really?
halftime. I like my stuff snug.
Yeah.
You got the sweat.
Would you eat at halftime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always like pickles for the salt.
Okay.
So you retain water. They always have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Like, as
I love
Travis with the
Perfect
Uncrustables. Sometimes they'd have chicken broth if it was like a cold game.
Yeah.
They'd have every kind of like power bar or protein bar or meal supplement bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when it's like a high play first half, guys are kind of drained, usually in the heat. You got to take in calories, gives you a
Okay.
little more energy.
Cool.
Pre-game shower?
Oh, I shower like 5-6 times before a game, because you wake up. I like to wake up, shower. I like hot water on my face. That helps me wake up. Then you hit the tubs, warm up, do another shower, and then like you go do ball drills, this, that. I don't like the sweat, and then I'll do like another shower. I'm
Yeah.
a showerer.
Yeah.
I like 5-6 showers a day.
Also, day before the Super Bowl, you're not practicing, right? Like
No.
Friday's the last practice.
Day before Super Bowl is usually a mental sharpening day. So it's kind of like your walkthrough, your dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
Each team, they're at a hotel, so they'll probably clear out the ballroom. You have the whole hotel, and you'll go through the whole script. So you go through first and second down, all your first and second down plays. You'll go through all your third down plays. You go through all your red area plays. You go through your 2-point menu. You go through gotta have it plays.
just to get that mental rep.
Yeah.
So when it's game time, the more you know the material, the more you can be spontaneous with your play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when like instinctively things happen.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
The showering question killed me. Does anybody take a shower at halftime?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would have never thought to ask that.
Never.
That is insane.
I would feel weird being clean in wet pads.
And then
Kind of
going
like when
back
you get
out-
out of the pool in the shower, you don't want to put your swim trunks back on.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
wet.
It's weird.
And then you got to go play and execute. Great question, though.
Oh, and then she was asking about, the Travis, the Uncrustables, and the food, what's in there. I know the Patriots were not an Uncrustables team. I've picked your brain about this.
We weren't an Uncrustables team.
Because
we
they
had-
didn't show up in the survey. There was a recent survey that broke the internet
Yeah.
talking about how many Uncrustables NFL teams consume, which is like, it's like a small nation could eat that many.
They're delicious, but I don't think they're really good for you. We used to have like 4 different types of PB&Js.
Lay them out for me.
We would have a gluten-free bread with an almond butter and a strawberry preserve, which was no added sugar.
Ooh, lovely. Healthy.
You could get that in peanut butter or almond butter, depending if you wanted that on that bread. You could change from white bread. And there was also a multi-grain bread. And there was also like a fairly unhealthier version where they would use a regular jelly instead of like that preserve shit with either an almond butter or peanut butter. And then there was also a peanut butter honey banana option. And there'd be they would cut them up. Our little lunch ladies, they would make these and they would saran wrap them by halves. And you'd have labeling on every single one. And they'd work their tails off for that. And guys, and you had beautiful sections of different ones. You go and pick what you want.
It's an everyday thing or game day thing?
No, this was every day before practice. And then they had them in at halftime and pregame.
What an operation.
So right before practice, usually, so guys could get a quick calorie, get some carbs, load up for practice. Because it is a good, well-rounded snack with carbohydrate, sugar. You know what I mean, for fuel, and then a little peanut butter gives you a little protein.
Which one are you grabbing?
I'd always mix it up. I'd always go I get the healthy gluten-free ones, and then I'd have like one multi-grain. I go healthy, gluten-free, strawberry preserve, almond butter. 2 halves of those, and then I'd take a bite of a multi-grain peanut butter and like grape jelly, like shitty grape jelly. And I always like taking and then like
a little chaser.
Just chase. But I wouldn't eat the whole thing. Tom used to just eat he would never eat the crust. I remember that, I think he would just eat the white part of it and he'd leave the crust.
This is gluten free, or is this like the?
He used to have the gluten-free ones, I believe.
Yeah, we know our man Killer Trav loves those Uncrustables.
Oh, who doesn't love it? If we had
I've never had
Uncrustables,
one.
we'd eat them.
I don't think I've ever had one.
Everyone would eat them.
I
I
never
gotta
had
crack one.
People love them. It's just we didn't. But there's something about a homemade one. That's why Marianne and all the ladies in the back, appreciate you.
Shout out.
Our next moment is sponsored by Corvus Vodka.
Oh, who could that be?
Not
Who is
actually,
that?
but-
Shot o'clock. Here's the story of Ty Law negotiating his contract with Bill Belichick. What's your best Bill Belichick story?
All right.
Look.
Okay.
Ty.
Okay. Well, you know what? All right. All right.
Look, Ty.
All right. So it was a situation where I was going through some contract some contract stuff before, and Bill was like, "Hey, we need to restructure your contract." And I was like, "Well, is this going to be like an extension? You know what I mean? You just save some cap space or whatever." And I was like, okay, but after we got it all down, I'm like, hey man, so that's a fucking pay cut. What is that ain't saving me no money. I don't even gotta send my agent this shit. You know what I mean? But then we went through it, and then so he hits me, and it was a good friend, on the team. I ain't gonna say no names. I can't put it out there like that. And he was like, "Hey, look, if you don't restructure this, man, we have to cut your boy." I was like, "Well, I guess he'll cut ass. I ain't giving you shit." I'm like, I ain't happy. I said, I guess I gotta go tell my boy that, hey, bro, hey man, get your neck, get you probably see something like that. You know what I mean? But like I said, but that's Bill being Bill, and now that so we end up working it out. I restructured. I said, look, I don't care about it as long as I'm getting paid the same thing it is because I didn't call in and try to get no more money. And even though a lot of stuff got blown out of proportion, we worked it out. I restructured my contract. My dog was still there, you know what I mean? And, we move on. But all we had to do was we didn't even have to go through all that.
Bill.
They try to do that and test your loyalty. Coach Parcells tried me when I was a rookie. But I like to say I'm a little bit of a different breed. I got a mind of my own. So now they came in and put me at the end zone. The end zone was even better, but it was still shitty when you was there, right?
Yeah.
The end zone hotel. I lived there for a couple months, but when I came for my visit, it was myself, Curtis Martin. They ended up drafting both of us. You know how you just go on the visit, they want to talk to you, interview you, stuff like that. So Coach Parcells brought me into the office and said, look, hey man, we like you, but we don't like who you got representing you. He's like, those Poston brothers, man. He said, I can't draft you with that. And so I'm sitting there myself, people had me projected to go to the Detroit Lions at number, I think they had the 21st pick of the draft. And I'm sitting there like, you know what? After what I seen and looking at Foxborough Stadium, I'm seeing all these trailer parks up here and shit. I'm like, man, okay, that make me keep my agent even more because you couldn't even put me in a Marriott.
Yeah.
You couldn't put me, I'm thinking I'm about to go to the league, Ritz-Carlton, get some room service or some shit like that, man. Bruh, I was not trying to come to win just because of that. But when he told me that,
oysters.
But when he told me that, what he tried to do was get into, a young guy's head, see what you think. That's the divide and conquer, mentality, saying that, you might want to draft me. I don't know that. But if you think I'm going to go and fire my agent just because of what you said, even if I had my agent and I'm with you and you don't want to get the deal done, no, that's not happening. So my agent brought it up to Bill Parcells, and Bill's like, well, I had to try. Because, hey, guess what? And I got, at that time, I got a nice rookie deal, which I got is equivalent to like the 17th pick, even though I was a 23rd pick. And then, of course, when it was time to, really get paid, I was the highest paid defensive back in the league.
I mean, it's a production business.
Exactly.
It's a production business.
Yeah, exactly.
You get paid, you get that production. But that's funny that he tried to okey doke you.
Oh, he tried to okey doke me twice.
That's the Bill okey doke.
Yeah, want me to give you one more?
Let's hear it.
Okay, since we out there and everything gone now. So now I had in my contract.
Wait, do we shot
you
a
know
clock?
what? Oh, God damn it. Shot a clock,
Shot a
guys.
clock.
Shot a clock.
Shot a clock.
Shot a clock. Shot a clock.
I mean, we're talking Bill. You got to
Yo,
get a
you
little
gotta get a
toasty.
shot. Oh yeah.
On grilled pineapple.
Hey, now we about to mess with Bill a little bit.
Let's.
Cheers.
We love him. We love him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell yeah.
So let's go to Bill's ass, right? So hey, as we drinking and thinking shit. All right, so Bill, I had a contract, so of course, he came, from the Jets side, and at the time, I was the only person on the roster that was still under Pete Carroll's contract. So I signed the big deal. I was with Pete. Pete really went to bat, and like I said, I earned my shit, but I was under that contract. So you know how it is. They only can touch your contract once. Once they touch it, you can't touch it for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? They would try to avoid me like the plague. So next to Drew, I was next. But they would go to everybody else because they knew, at the time that don't come mess with me about that shit. That's not happening. So anyway, I had a bonus in my contract where I get X amount of dollars if I come and make weight, and I had a reporting bonus. So I had a reporting bonus. I can say it now because
you had a weight clause?
Huh? No, that's what's part of my reporting bonus. I got to come on time, make weight, pass the conditioning test.
Yeah, we all got that.
Exactly. I got $1 million for mine though.
Workout bonus, $1 million.
No, that was reporting bonus. My workout bonus was $100,000.
So
that's what the story.
Just in case they catch you. Just in case they catch you, they save $1 million.
Yeah. Hey,
they know you can do it.
Yeah,
just in case.
So that was your incentive to come in and, like I said, I was gonna pass the conditioning test. I don't give a damn if I had to sit in the sauna for 50 hours straight. I'm gonna get that damn bonus. Easy. You know what I mean?
Easy.
But it was $100,000. So when I came in, I got I came in and got my checks. You know what I mean? At the time, you got direct deposit, but you get your receipt.
Yeah.
So I got one. I'm like, where my little $100,000 at? So And of course, you know, I go down. They say I go upstairs, and they say you gotta go talk to Bill. I'm like, well, shit. Okay, hey Bill, well, I'm missing 100,000. And he's like, well, he said we didn't talk this year. I said, what are you talking about? Because I went to Bob Kersey, you know, the great Bob Kersey, Olympic, you know, gold medal winning coach. I trained with him. I never stayed in the off season, you know, for the program. So, you know, I got under my contract, as long as it was approved by the head coach or GM, which it always was, I get both checks. So he said we didn't talk this year because we talked last year because, like I said, he was fairly new to it and he approved it. It was fine. So I would just assume it's like that every year.
Yeah.
I signed this shit when you was a Jet. You remember you was a Jet when I signed this contract. So when you came, here it is. We talked.
Jet for you guys that don't, that's a little child.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Or young in your profession.
Exactly.
That's some Florida talk.
Yeah, exactly. So now I comes and he sit there and is like, no. I'm like, Bill, man. All right. So I called my financial advisor. I was like, yo, did that $1 million clear yet? Oh, not yet. So, you know, I went out, I left, and I came back. So Bill know me. So I'm coming back in. And Bearish, he was like, hey, he said, he's in there. Bill had my contract sitting on, he had my contract sitting on his
Laid
desk.
out.
Laid out, highlighted. he had the shit highlighted saying, hey, it has to be approved of this, language. I'm like, and it was always approved. You was a fucking Jet. He said, well, Andy Weiserchuck is no longer the GM, and I'm the head coach. And I say, no, fine. So I was like, all right. I just took my ass to the locker room, got my stuff out the thing, and I walked on out. I was gone for 3 days. See, it wasn't no social media and all that stuff there. So I was gone for 3 days, bro. And finally got the call because they got to call you and say, and this is during training camp, but I know in training camp, you cannot find me more than $1,200 a day. So as far it was $1,000 a day at the time.
Yeah. It's like 20 now.
Huh?
It's like 20 grand.
Oh yeah.
Unexcused absence. Keep going.
Yeah. So it was 1,000. It was like, it was at 5,000. Was it 5,000? Yeah, it was 5,000. So I said, as far as I'm concerned, I got 20 practices. I'll be back at on day 21 to get that $6 million salary. I'll be back for that. But if I'm gonna lose 100,000, I'm gonna lose this shit legit. So I was gone. You know what I mean? So eventually, Bears called me, got on the phone, bring your ass down here. Da da da. All right. I said, Bill, want my money? He said, you come down here, we talk about that shit later. So I go.
Going to the principal's office.
No,
that's what people don't realize.
No, exactly.
The principal's office.
He told me to come to go to the game because we were playing down in Washington.
So you didn't practice all camp?
No, I didn't. I was gone for 3 days. I left.
Oh, 3 days.
Exactly. Because guess what? The $1 million cleared.
Okay.
That was clear. That was in the bank. So as far as I'm concerned, I got $100,000 right here that's out there. And to me, where I come from, that's a lot of goddamn money.
That's a lot of money anywhere.
That's the kind that you don't get a financial advisor. You get him $1 million, but you keep $100,000 yourself. You know, do what you got to do. You know,
hey.
That's the pocket change at that time. When you get that's a lot of money. But two things. So like I said, where I come from, that's life changing. So for me, I was like, I'm not that guy. I'm going to leave, and I'll be back. But it also had the status of who I was too, so I knew that as well. So do what you got to do. So I left. He called me. Get your ass on the plane. We go on the wall. I think we was Washington preseason. He didn't start me. He put me in with the goddamn scrubs, bro. Willie and everybody eating hot dogs on the sideline, laughing and shit. So he puts me in. So now all the guys on the other side, they really going. You know, they trying to make the team.
Yeah, trying to make a team.
Yeah, and they trying to
tie law.
I'm getting cut and all that. I was like, man, you know, Willie and was clowning, laughing, right? So we comes back in. Next day, had to come in on Monday. I didn't even take my stuff off. I was at the table eating breakfast, still with my clothes on. You know, Bill came by with an envelope. He sat it right to me. He's like, "Fucking asshole." So I was like, open up the check. 85,000. Docked me 3 days.
Damn, bro. Freaking Bill.
Hey, that's Bill for you though.
Ty Law.
That was electric.
He had the Nuthouse jumping.
I know those talks with Bill way too well.
I don't envy you for those. I'm getting secondhand uncomfortability.
He knows what he's doing too.
He just grabbed a raw handful of Chex Mix.
Just think about it.
Corners you in the lunchroom.
Yeah, just think about it. This guy's been doing this for 40 years. He's like a 60-year-old man. You're like 23 years old, just got out of college, and you're trying to get negotiating with the fucking guy that has done thousands of these contracts, just waiting for you to slip up. Fuck the agent. We don't need the agent. Which I'm joking. I'm joking. I never said that. This episode is brought to you by Intuit Enterprise Suite, helping your business grow to the next level. To all CFOs and business leaders listening right now, does it ever feel like the bigger your company gets, the bigger the headaches become due to disconnected tools? Growth is exciting, but it often means more scattered data, limited tools, and endless manual tasks that pull you and your team away from what really matters, driving the business forward. Meet the all-new Intuit Enterprise Suite, an AI-powered solution that brings all your business tools and data together, which means less mental work to run the business and faster real-time and actionable insights in one place. It's one smart system that takes care of your financials, payroll, marketing, and payments, processing all in one solution. Learn more at intuit.com/enterprise. That's intuit.com/enterprise. Money movement services by Intuit Payments Incorporated, licensed by NYDFS. It's pretty crazy to think we had Ernie Adams on the show 3 times last year.
He's a regular now.
Unbelievable.
Only behind Rob.
Not just in Boston, but we also had him here in the Nuthouse West.
Cross-country trip.
Ern Dog. He's man.
He is our guy. Well, the smartest guy we know.
One of the greatest player personnel guys. Low key. He wore so many hats, but here's Ernie's take on when the Patriots knew Tom Brady was going to be great. Do you remember the scouting process when you guys were scouting Brady?
You know, really, it was, the number one thing you want to see on a football player is what does he do in the games? I mean, it's, it's kind of a bottom line business. And when you get somebody who goes in and plays well in the games, that's what gets your attention. And we had, one person you never knew, great guy, Dick Rabine, was our quarterback coach, who unfortunately died during training camp in 2001.
Oh, wow.
Got on a treadmill and, had a heart issue and he died. But, you don't try to make it too complicated. If a guy goes in the game against good competition and plays well, that is what we're trying to do. It's not about, the combine stuff, which is important. But, it's really what does the guy do when he gets on the field against good competition? And so you get Brady, hey, have a great bowl game against Alabama. And play well when you're in there. There's a lot of things as a player you can't control, but what you can control is what you actually do when you get out on the field.
He always used to talk about that. When did you know he was a killer?
When I first, Tom's rookie year in 2000, he was like, he was like the third string quarterback, and he was not going to get in the game. Unless if you have 2 guys get injured in the same game, he can get in, but it wasn't going to happen. And after practice, he would go grab our young rookie tight end, Chris Eitzman, and take him over on the side and make Chris run patterns for him. But it wasn't just running patterns. Tom wanted to call the play. It's 3rd and 6. All right, Eitz, this is the play we're going to run. Call it out, because Tom wanted to put himself through the situation. Here's the way I'm going to call the play in this situation. It's not just let's just go run around, play catch. We're actually thinking a game, thinking situations, and I always figured if a player was going to stay out late after practice, somebody should honor him by going over and watching. So I'm just standing watching this. This guy, he's really trying to get ready to play, even though he has no chance of playing this week. And of course, Tom's the guy. If he wanted to get in the right stance, how do you get in the right stance? You practice it in front of the mirror. You just do. Being obsessive compulsive can get you in trouble sometimes. but it can also lead to great results.
Yeah.
And that's the way I kind of look at that. Tom is the ultimate obsessive compulsive, among players, because he's not, Tom Brady didn't just drop out of the sky a Hall of Fame quarterback. He made himself into a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yep.
And when people would tell me at the draft, I work hard as Brady, hey, you're full of shit. You have no idea what you're talking about. And that's
It's
the
100% correct. I mean, I got there. He already had 3 Super Bowls, and he was still flying in a coach week 11 to work on his little fundamentals after a practice.
hey, but you know what? If
That was when he was a 4. That's what people don't see.
They don't see, they don't understand. And that was kind of like when I was talking about being impressed with Peyton Manning warming up before the game. When it's football now, it's dead ass serious, 100% every time. Yeah, there's no, you don't take any plays off in practice.
He never did.
Never did. And you know what? He would if you ran him around first time hey Jules, we really want to do it this way, and then he expects you to get it right that second time.
Right.
Hey, if you might not quite understand the first time, that's not a problem. Screwing up after he explained it to you, that's a problem.
Put him in the hall. Put Ernie in the hall.
He's got to be, right?
Gotta be.
I just watched that I just saw another clip of him explaining his cards about the Malcolm Butler catch. Another one. I mean, we were practicing that days before.
Wins you Super Bowls.
Wins you Super Bowls. Next up, Uncle T.
Uncle T.
My man.
Uncle Tear. Here's the 4-time Super Bowl champion talking about how heated practices got back in the day. Back in the diggity day.
Quiet in practice one day, I threw a pass, and for some reason he mad at John Cobra something. He came through and he decked me, knocked me back over, ass kettle, helmet flew off.
Practice.
Well, now we practiced in full pads.
Yeah.
I found the football and I got up. Boom. I threw it. I tried to kill him. Nobody, Chuck knows. He's probably, he didn't mind it, but I have the shit knocked out of me. Boy, I was pissed. He came over and I said, let me tell you something, Mad Dog. You may lose with me, but you'll never win without me. You got that? And I walked over. I was steaming. I took my helmet off. Y'all sit on your helmets in practice? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I sat on my helmet, and I'm over there, and I'm mad because nobody got in a fight. Nobody fought for me. Maybe that's it.
Feelings
Maybe
hurt.
nobody gave a shit. I don't know. But I'm over by myself, and here comes Mad Dog. He comes over, and he kind of had that high pitch. Blind mama! What was that? Give me that saying. What was that saying? What are you talking about? You know when that saying, you threw the ball, what you said, what? What was that you said, huh? And he had his tooth missing. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, you said something about we're going to win, may lose. I said, and I got to thinking, what did I say? So he sat down. Next thing I know, it's like, hey, pull up a chair. Pull up a helmet. So we started going, okay, you knocked me down. I got pissed. I hit you with the football. You came at me. I pointed at you. And what did I say? He said something about you're going to win with me. I said, no. You may lose with me. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You're going to lose with me. No, I'm not going to lose with you. You may lose with me. Then what? And then we sat over there. And it took us 30 minutes. And we go, but you'll never win without me. That's it. Yeah. Oh, I like that. I said, well, I like it too. That's an original.
Yeah.
And to this day, that was always, of course, he passed away, God bless him. Joe Green would say, Bomb Bomber said, you may lose with me, but you'll never win without me. And that kind of became the theme of their defense. They used to use it all the time.
You know what? Is that not football right there?
Oh, so good.
You guys get in a fight.
Yeah.
And then you
no,
guys
it wasn't a
sitting
fight.
there.
Hold it on that. It wasn't no fight.
Or you guys, there's something that happened.
There's a disagreement.
That same thing happened to me and Gilmore. Remember Stephon Gilmore? We just signed him. And I was pissed. They gave him $14 million. I'm over here. We just won a Super Bowl. We're on our second. We got Super Bowls. Like, they paid this guy $14 million. We've been routing him
Over
up.
how many years?
It was 14 a year.
What?
Yeah, when Stephon Gilmore came to the Pats, he was the highest paid corner, which he was a fucking stud and made me a lot better. But I was pissed the first day he came in. He was a Buffalo Bill. You know, I wanted to show him first day of pads. This is how we fucking practice here. He kind of hems me up on a flag route. We get into it. I take his helmet off. I start punching him. Belichick goes, "You two, get the fuck off the field. Hit the showers."
Really?
So we have to, it's first day of pads.
You got to go shower with the guy.
So it was the first fucking period. Uncle Terry, it was the first period.
I'd have got a water hose outside. Wash my...
But just like you and your teammate, you guys were, we start walking back and we're pissed off at each other. And all of a sudden, you know, we get in the locker room and, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where.
Why didn't you go back out to practice?
Because they told us to get out, which it was the best. If I would have known that, I would have done that so many more times. Get out of practice, training camp practice, first day of pads, get the fucking. I started doing that. I got smartened up.
Going up against the steel curtain every day in practice. Unbelievable.
You may lose with me, but you'll never win without me.
Terry, put that quote on a bumper sticker.
It was correct.
A t-shirt.
That is fucking awesome. He's so good at storytelling and sayings. Like, I aspire to be him.
Terry's always got a good turn of phrase.
Oh.
He always, he was dropping serious knowledge in the Nuthouse.
And the accent tops everything off.
It does. It does.
There's nothing like having a hillbilly accent. And I think I've heard him call himself a hillbilly.
Oh, Terry will say it.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure, but I mean, I think it makes you it makes you funnier.
And Terry, people get the knock on Terry was because of his accent, I think, in the pros, but
that's what I mean. But
people underestimated Terry.
Underestimated him.
And look at him now. He's an American treasure.
And what a game. Immaculate reception.
Oh man.
Wow, that's a great episode.
We can't do a best without including our old pal, Robbie G.
Robbie G.
You know? Here's Gronk and I talking about Kam Chancellor and all those ferocious hits. Yeah, I remember that play. Everyone talks about a concussion.
You got concussed in that play?
Remember when they got hit by Kam Chancellor?
That explains everything.
Jules, can you walk us through that play?
Yeah, I mean, on the punt return before that, I took a hip shot. So I returned the punt. We went into no huddle right away because we there was, 7 minutes left? And, you know, we kind of boosted the urgency. We needed some kind of spark on offense. And a lot of times you get in no huddle, it you know, it gets the offense going. You can move the ball, keeps one defense on the field. You can get some plays called. So we went into no huddle, and then it was this 3rd and 14. And I'm already fucking, my hip is tugging because I took a hip pointer on the punt return. So in between plays, it would be tugging, and then your adrenaline kicks in right before a play. It was, 10F stalk. I think it was triple F, triple in, which, you got the in cut, the under. We were flooding the zone, and I had the deep in on the backside. And you have a quarterback clock in your head when you're running routes, especially if you're running a deep route over the middle. Usually that ball's hit to you on the numbers on an in cut, because you have it's middle of the field closed, meaning there's a middle field safety, and that anytime you get past that, he gets involved, and that's when big hits come. So I'm running the route, and I get to the top of the route. I'm still running. And I'm still running. And so Tom, he had to do something, gets into the pocket, steps up, and it's late in my head. So you're about to take a fucking hit. So he zips it across the middle. I'm probably halfway in between the field. So there's a shark lurking. That's that middle field safety. So you better dig in, you better prepare for the hit. And that's why I brought it into the body, and I clinched right before I hit it, and Kam hit me, and it hit me hard. And I didn't know if I was down. I was good. I braced myself for the hit. So a lot of people think I was knocked out that play because of how I tried to get up at the end, but that's when the adrenaline kicked, my hip pulled. I tried to get up and my hip pulled. If anyone who's had a hip pointer, you had hip pointers?
Nah.
When you get that hip pointer, it singes on you and it pulls all those muscles in your hip. So when the adrenaline's down, that thing just starts singeing on me and I'm like, oh. And everyone thinks I can't get up because I'm staggered because of the hit, which it was a fucking hit, and I felt the hit. Don't get me wrong. Kam Chancellor's a fucking dog. But it was because of my hip, and there was no concussion. So everyone out there, oh, the concussion rule, me. Nah, dude. Take a little teaspoon of cement. Go up. You pick up your goddamn self.
Matt.
Yeah, toughness.
Oh.
Toughness, Rob.
What's funny about that play is when we were doing your documentary, we tried to license that footage for that kick. It's a big play to get it into the NFL. There was no penalty called. There was nothing. There was no fine.
wouldn't allow
Anything. Legal play in the eyes of the NFL. We tried to license that footage for the documentary. They go, no shot. That doesn't represent the NFL. So it was never in the movie. No flag, though. No fine.
Wild.
Wild.
I didn't need a flag. It didn't need a fine.
No,
Okay?
let
It's
me use it.
football.
That
But
was
then let me use
football.
it. Let me use
No.
it. Let me give you the money
That
and I'll
was
put it in the movie.
football.
It's football.
They said it
That was
didn't
a
represent the
football play.
NFL.
That was a heck of a play by you.
You remember
Get
that?
leveled by Kam Chancellor like that and to make that catch and to hold on to it. You know how hard that is?
And then
Yeah, I remember him grunting too. He grunted when we hit. You know, sometimes you hear something. You ever hear something? The guy goes, "Ugh!" He's like, "Ugh!" I was like, ah. I was like, "Ee." I remember him going, "Ugh!" I was like, ouch. Still feeling it. Nah, I'm joking. It was my hip. My hip. NFL spotter. The rule came in place after that hit.
I want Cam on the show so bad.
Yeah, me too. And how could we forget Nikki Glaser for stopping by?
Nikki.
The old Nuthouse, huh? I mean, here's us reminiscing of our Brady roast experiences. I've watched roasts for as long as they've been around. And they kind of like chilled for a while since this whole, 22 and 20 and how the world has kind of changed with the
You're
woke.
all too sensitive. Yeah.
And I felt like it kind of like the roast we were on, there was like no holding anyone back. There
That was wild.
you know what I mean? Everyone was hitting every joke, and it was kind of it was like comedy was almost coming back.
I felt that too. And I don't know that, like, if we would have submitted that script of what it ended up being to Netflix prior, they would have been like, no, we're not letting you do this. Like I'm sure Netflix perused what was going to be said, but they weren't really, I can't imagine anyone greenlighting what was said that night. And even sitting there that night, I was thinking, oh man, tomorrow it's going to be like, they went too hard. This was, did they cross the line? Is this the end of roast? Like, cause it was so harsh, but everyone seemed to just be like, so excited about it the next day. It was not, there was not one headline of like, it's too far.
No.
Like not even one. And it was too far.
Yeah,
It was offensive to me at times.
It was pretty. It was
great though.
But
So
it was
fun.
great for us, like the athletes, when the civilians on the
my
stage,
God.
when we went up there, and when Kevin let it off. It was good to see Kevin. Like, that was a teammate move. Like, he showed like where the bar was set when he came out.
Oh my God.
And
Such
so it
a
relieved
teammate.
me. He said that. I'm like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
wait,
good.
what was the line he said that made you like?
There was the Brazilian jiu-jitsu stuff.
Yeah,
Like, he was
yeah.
bringing it right away.
Yes,
And
you're
no-
right. He was showing you where the threshold was, like
Yes.
where we're willing to go.
Yes.
Absolutely, I felt that way too.
Yeah.
he was the best man, and just like commenting after everyone's set and like showing credit where it's due. Like he was really a team player that night. Where on a night where it is competitive, and comedians aren't usually that generous with each other of like giving each other accolades, and it felt, but the roast is weird because you didn't know what other people were going to say, what other jokes people were doing. None of us had any idea what the other people were doing. So you're writing stuff being like, can I get away with, am I going to be the only one who addresses this thing? And then when I heard you were doing an Aaron Hernandez joke, I was like, I guess it's on the table. That opened up
comedy.
a world to me. No,
It's comedy.
it of course it was jokes, and I think jokes can be made about literally any topic. It's not like you're like making fun of the victim. Like there's a certain way that it shouldn't be done, and that's not the way it was done that night. It was really refreshing, but there was just like, I heard just like a hint that, or like someone said, yeah, Julian has a Aaron Hernandez joke, and I had been like, I can't do it because no one's gonna go there. And then it just was like, yes, hell yes, you killed so hard, man. Like comedians should kill. Like I should have done as well as I did, but like there's no precedent for you doing that well or Gronk doing that well. It really was like you all should have done as well as Randy
Drew
did.
good. I like
And,
Drew. He likes you too, I think.
Drew
loved Nikki,
killed.
bro.
I'm sorry, I want to include Drew in that too. Drew was amazing.
He was the first one to go out, so that's big balls.
it off,
He
baby.
killed, and him just sipping that wine, being so calm and cool. I mean, it makes sense why you guys kill because you are used to these high pressure situations. And maybe you would say that wouldn't have prepared you at all for that, but I think it has to. There's no way. Like, how did all three of you kill like that? It just doesn't make sense.
I can speak for myself, and I want to ask you about your preparation process after. But for me, we saw each other at the store.
Yeah.
And Jeff was awesome to let me do the back 10, 12 minutes of his set at the Comedy Store, which
Good for you doing that. by
I
the
was
way.
so terrified.
Of
I was
course.
shaking telling my
course.
jokes like this. I could barely talk. Thank God there was like 15 frat dudes from Nebraska that knew who I was, that loved football. So I
Yes.
felt comfortable.
But good for you for doing that because that's not easy to do, and no one wants to go run their set around town. But when I heard I go, where's Tom running his set? And they're like, he's just practicing it on his plane and stuff because obviously he can't go out to clubs. It
Yeah.
makes sense. But
Practicing on
I
his
would be,
plane and
I would be
just
so scared to go do it for the first time without saying, because I went around a lot to clubs to run it. So good for you even going out how many nights did you go out and run it?
Just once.
Just once?
But I need that one rep was everything for me because then
It
once
gave
we
you
got to
confidence.
once we got to the roast, the only people that we really could see were people we knew.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, you see Kim Kardashian, but like
Oh, yeah.
whatever. But like I saw like coaches, I saw friends, so like that made it more comfortable
Oh, that's
for me.
good.
You know?
Yeah.
I wasn't looking past that.
Okay. You destroyed
It was
and then,
fun.
But then I think we all entered this part where like we would get on stage, we'd be nervous, and then the first laugh you get, you're calm.
Yeah.
And then you guys kind of like would lock into it and get excited about, oh my God, they don't even know what's coming up. Like, because I could see you guys, you and Gronk specifically, having jokes land and then getting this like kind of like, oh yes, I got it. Like, and then hitting this stride because isn't it a great feeling to make people laugh and kill?
I mean, I have so much respect for, comics and the comedy life. I mean, I've gotten to know it a little through Sam Morrell because we started the show and Sam was one of my co-hosts.
Yeah, that's right. I love Sam so much.
And so I would go hang out with him at the cellar and see all the other guys and kind of get a little in of how comics really are.
Yeah.
And,
What's your take?
Well, I think you guys are brilliant people.
That's
Like to
nice.
be able to, like when how you're impressed with play call remembering.
Yeah.
Like to be able to formulate a set and say a joke in the first 5 minutes and it's an hour-long set, tell a bunch of stuff like the story, the meat, this, and then bring
Call
it back to
that,
someone
yeah.
somewhere. Like that's talent. I can't write. I'm not a good English person. So
But you
like,
would be able to. But you wrote some of a good English person. You're
football, fun.
But it's you. Did you not have a moment during your set where you were like, and I wrote that one? Was that you?
That was Rob.
But did you?
I wrote a couple.
one-
We
you
wrote a couple.
couple of your jokes.
Yeah,
though,
we wrote
right?
a couple.
Which ones did you write?
We wrote the Hernandez joke, didn't we?
They came with something in
Similar,
that
and then you
premise,
tweaked
and then
it?
we tweaked it.
Okay.
So this
Yeah,
is my
you
writing
tightened
room
the
right
news.
here.
Yeah.
The brain trust.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
tapped Sam in a little
well
bit too.
done.
We tapped in
Sam.
Sam was in there with us in the
Oh,
writers'
okay.
room. Jeff
Well-
helped us out. He was awesome.
It is a team
we're
effort. I had a
collective.
team as well too.
Yeah,
You
I'm
can't
not like
do it
pro
alone.
at this thing, so I had people help me.
No, I had a team too.
So what
Everyone does.
I would basically how we did our jokes was I would tell a bunch of stories to our room of like things that I thought were funny,
Yes.
like how it was in the locker room or the shower thing or
Oh,
taking
yeah.
a piss next to Gronk and like because it was comedy every day when you would go when Gronk was around. I'd take a piss every day. Gronk would look over the stall and look at my dick and say like, "Man, you're looking good today, dude." like
that
every
was just
day.
a thing that
Butt naked. Like so like I would tell these stories and then we would formulate a joke, they would formulate a joke.
Yeah.
And it
It's
was
fun.
crazy. It was so fun.
It was.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was very nervous.
Yeah.
I was like
Did it feel like Super Bowl nervous?
my first Super Bowl was probably similar because it's unknown, but football is the same, and I'm comfortable with the game. And I was in the mindset, you do the same thing that got you there, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
So you're nervous for a Super Bowl, but this is something that's like completely outside the comfort box.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. Like,
Did you say yes right away when they asked you, or were you like, let
No.
me think about this?
I said no.
You did.
Yeah. I was like, no shot.
And then what made you do it?
The
What
100, I
called
think a couple
from
hundred
Tom?
grand or something.
Okay. I know. Didn't hurt.
And then I was like, all right, maybe I'll do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was embarrassed. I was scared.
Yeah.
Like that's very.
Ugh. The
You know, you get-
relief when it was over. How
It was
great
relief,
that?
but then it was also like I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really,
And
really
then
fun.
we just did a live show in Boston.
Oh yeah, I saw that
2
at the
weeks ago.
Wilbur.
At the Wilbur.
Yeah.
Have you performed
I've been there a lot. What a great room.
That's
Big
cool.
room.
Yeah,
Good
it was,
job.
It was so fun, and like I was less nervous for that because of the roast, but I was still nervous for that. But I still had I had a rep at being in front of people.
Yes.
And even though
God,
it was
I
completely
forget
different.
that you don't like talk in front of people often.
But I'm. It's a new world for me because
but
this
you're
is like,
learning.
man. I think she was MVP of that whole thing.
She was awesome.
Greatest roast set of all time. Midway through the set, Standing O had the forum, like the roof was about to blow off. Electric.
Good English person.
Good.
And the Golden Globes, that's soon.
January 7th coming up. Nikki.
January 7th, next
Catch
week.
her.
Go catch
Better
Nikki
watch.
Glaser at the Golden Globes.
Let's go, Nikki.
Let's go, Nikki.
We're Team Nikki.
We are.
Hey, everyone. Julian Edelman here. There's no better time to enjoy live events. I've had my eyes on NFL playoff tickets, and there's always Bruins and Celtics games for when you're itching to get out of the house and catch some action. That's why I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's show, SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. They've got more than 70,000 events listed, from concerts and sports to festivals and more. You name it, they've got it. The best part? SeatGeek has your back. Every ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Just look at the green dots. Green means good and red means bad. And every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, so you're set. And you know I came through for you guys. You can use code GAMES10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code GAMES10. Make sure to click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. I'll see you out there. Drew Bledsoe rolled up, and boy, did he bring plenty of wine to break down the Brady roast.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's us ranking our top roasters. Got it.
I want to hear your guys' top 5 roasters from last night.
Well, are we going to include Tom?
No, Tom's not in top 5.
Yeah, Tom's.
Okay, Tom is not.
Minus
top
Tom.
5.
Minus Tom.
Let's be fucking
Although-
real.
All right.
People say he had the best joke of the night.
Which one?
I'm gonna butcher it, but essentially Kim's worried because her kids are home with their dad.
Oh, that was a pretty good one.
That was solid.
That was solid.
I mean, I didn't want to get into making out with your kids because I thought kids were off limits.
Yeah, nobody really did those.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that was the only rule they told me. It
Yeah,
was
no
and I'm like,
kids.
well, obviously I'm not going to make fun of them.
He's over here talking about.
Jack had a good kid joke.
Yeah, I wanted to do a.
No,
had a couple. I won't do it.
You gotta
Thanks for stopping me.
all right, so I'm gonna be nice and throw you in there, Jules, and I think you deserve it.
Nice.
I thought you fucking crushed. Nikki.
Yep.
Maybe MVP. Dude, she absolutely killed. Tony Hinchcliffe. Yeah.
Joke per minute was high too.
And
Schultz was good.
Schultz was great, and he had to back cleanup, man. He had to.
Yeah.
He brought it home. And then Kevin's the host, so I don't get it. But
Does he get in there?
I guess we'll count him. He did do a set at the beginning, I guess, kind of.
I mean,
he set the stage.
Yeah.
That shit
No,
was
he
nothing was off limits.
He let it rip.
Yes, he did.
He away. I thought I was sitting there like, oh shit, he did that.
Yeah, and again, I haven't watched this thing, but you were sitting closer to Tom. I've heard from a couple people that he looked pretty damn uncomfortable at the start.
Yeah, he was getting like "I love you" from his like sisters and stuff. Like, he's like,
"Stay strong, Guardians."
Yeah.
What did you expect?
But I think you know after a while, but I think you're right. I think Kevin set the bar that okay, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. How about you?
I agree with everyone. I agree.
Top 5.
With, I also liked Gronk.
You know what?
Because the energy.
Yeah.
And like I listened to Gronk. He was practicing his jokes with me the whole time.
You can go Gronk instead of you. Because I mean, if you vote for yourself, that's fine.
Well, hold on.
But
you got to get Drew.
Yeah, Drew's no slouch either.
Drew, you went up there and you set the stage with the glass wine like a fucking a debonair kind of person.
Debonair.
Debonair.
Wasn't that the guy in Friday? Debonair?
Very slave and deboner. Very slave and deboner when I walk up there.
The wife joke was pretty funny.
That was awesome.
28 years.
28 years.
It's
Hey.
true story.
The mirror act out with Tom and doing the double.
He
back.
for sure
that killed
does
me.
that.
He
Dude.
definitely
I'm glad
does.
you called it out.
That one was not my joke. That one came from the writers, but it's like, first of all, it's a great plug for the winery.
Amen.
But then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna give him the old blue steel. Yeah. Like, dude.
Back when you were around, that wasn't blue steel.
Oh, dude, he was.
That wasn't blue steel when you were around, Bubs. He's still chunk steel.
So, Joe, who's your 5?
I got.
Dude, if you don't kiss my ass a little bit, then I'm fucking walking off. So
No.
you better
Yeah,
put
come
me
on,
in
bro.
there.
I got Bledsoe.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I got. So can you put mine as red, please?
Yeah. I'll go yours as red.
So I can see.
You got Gronk too, yeah.
Yeah, you got Gronk.
I liked. I thought Nikki Glaser was fucking hilarious.
Dude, she
Like, her
killed.
whole
She
shtick
killed. She absolutely killed.
I liked Schultz.
The 8 ring joke.
Yeah.
So funny.
And I also, I mean, like obviously Jeff Ross crushed, but
Yeah.
I also could have put him in the host category a little bit. But but
Jeff is a pro at it.
It's expected.
dude.
At
But
this point.
he also has jokes that are great jokes that don't necessarily kill you.
Right.
Like he didn't like these people were killing people.
Dude, I don't know
Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck I did to Sam J. Dude, she got after me. Jesus.
I forgot about. Oh my god.
Dude, she fucking buried me.
We gotta ask her about that.
She hurt my feelings. I cried.
No, you didn't.
I didn't cry. I'm kidding.
And I like Tony. I caught actually, I'm going Will Ferrell.
Oh heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean,
I love Will
don't-
Ferrell. Like
I
he
mean,
could go up there and bomb, but as Ron Burgundy, I was just sitting there like it was a movie.
Mixed with the surprise of
Like,
him actually being there.
Dude, he could literally walk out there as Ron Burgundy and just stand there, and I would probably laugh for 5 minutes.
I'm sure he could have just went out there with no preparation and just bullshitted it.
Yeah, no, it was it's genius stuff. So I will tell you the one thing I was that in the whole thing is I was really looking forward to Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. And I thought they're set together. I was like, man, no, let these guys go.
I
Like
know.
it was too scripted, man. These guys are the friggin' funniest friggin'
They're
dudes.
I'm
funny.
with you.
So funny, and I felt like it was a little too scripted and set up between the two of them.
I think they started running out of spots.
Oh, gotcha. So they had,
You know what I mean? Because they started
Yeah.
like Bill, Peyton,
right?
like everyone starts
Yeah.
coming,
Kardashian.
and I think they all came within like the last 3 or 4 days
Right.
or committed.
Right.
So
All right. Bottom 5.
We'll keep it at a top 5.
Okay, good.
We'll keep it at a top
Why don't we
5.
do maybe too far joke of the night or a joke
Too
that
far
was like,
the joke? Kevin had a lot of those.
Oh man,
you had a
I'm
couple.
trying to. Okay, I'm trying to recall all of them,
The tight end hung
but
joke.
no, I think the Antonio Brown bringing Giselle is plus one.
Oh yeah.
that was I was like, oh Jesus, because I mean we're sitting up there, right, and everything's funny, right, but there's gonna be cameras on us, right. That was one where I just went like, no, I'm not laughing at that shit. I am not laughing at that shit. I'm like putting my head down, and I'm, yeah.
That's what we got to rewatch it to see what our
Yeah,
reactions. I hope I
right.
didn't fuck anything up.
Yeah, the reactions have the funniest
the other thing though, they did say, because when they go back and like when they do the Comedy Central ones, I was talking to one of the producers. Apparently those deals go like 5 hours, which I want to go to one of those. I'll sit in the audience, but
They cut it.
yeah, and then they edit it down to an hour. But then they'll go back and like if you laugh at something in like the first 5 minutes,
They'll take it for the 12th minute.
they'll put you back there. But yeah, I do want to see some of the reactions. But how about you? Which joke was like on that line a little bit over?
I mean, Kev set the stage when he started throwing out Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right away.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was like, yo.
Okay. Here we go.
I was so happy though because then it made my jokes not as bad.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I was like, all right, cool, thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Right.
The Dana White of Michael Vick of Humans was.
That was great.
Who was that?
I think
Dana
that was
White?
Nikki Glaser.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a great one.
No, what they call him? They called him the like the next gen skinhead because he found a way for immigrants to beat each other up.
Or put immigrants in cages.
Put immigrants in cages and beat
Within
each
Border
other up.
Patrol.
Like,
Oh my God.
yeah.
That one
Or
was
steal
wild.
Brazilians that have their purse.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah.
Boy.
Killed.
Man, that was a fun night with Drew.
That was awesome.
Man, you gotta have some.
He
Thick
was a good
skin.
sport. He was a great
Thick
sport.
skin. You gotta have some 2C thick skin. You know, THICC.
That's right. Double C.
That's 2C thick skin.
His facts. I remember he rolled up into the Nuthouse fresh off around at Riviera.
Fresh off
Tons
around.
of wine. He came in here and brought the party.
Dude, and
He
you and
said,
him
wing it.
You and him throwing it in the back after, he was just ripping it. Oh, that was so cool.
I know, it felt
Spiral had
good.
not lost any tightness.
He hadn't lost any of it.
Mm-mm.
Drew killed it.
He was the man.
He's
He
the
killed
best.
it. Okay. One Matt Light moment isn't just enough. Also from Matt Light episode, here's the story about Matt and Bill's exchange of the famous email.
The most treasured thing that I own in my life is an email exchange between Bill Belichick and I. You ever get an email from Bill Belichick? Ever in your history of
We
your
got a
career?
text message.
Okay, but never an email.
No.
I've never spoken to anybody that I've ever played with or came after me or before me that's ever received an email. Like Bill doesn't do human stuff, right? Like that's like a human thing to do. Like send an email.
Yeah.
I got an email.
What does the email say?
So I was a rep, right? And I was in Hawaii.
By the way, let me paint the picture for everyone out there. Light was a rep, a union rep, and Bill took everything out on the reps because they represented the union, and he hated like the time limits. Like, you guys figure it out. What this fucking shit? Like,
Well, and he couldn't do anything to us because he had Vrabel and myself. But I get home from Hawaii, long ass flight, Hawaii. To
are you in
Boston.
Hawaii, Pro Bowl?
It was the union meetings were there.
Oh.
And so when
That's
I
where our
went,
money
I
goes.
was the guy that
That's where our money
literally got
goes.
him changed. I passed the resolution saying, if I want to go to Hawaii, I'll go to Hawaii. I don't want to fly all the way to Hawaii. Like, why don't we do this in the States? We got all these, and dude, I think half the island wanted to kill me.
Yeah.
Because that was a big revenue. But anyway, neither here nor there. I get home, and this is like way before. We live in this crazy time now where like we think it's always been the way it is. I mean, back up 10 years ago, man, I wasn't checking emails from my cell phone.
Still don't.
I had. Of course you don't.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but you got somebody that will.
Yeah.
Ma, where's Meatloaf?
Meatloaf! I never know what she's doing back
What
there.
is she doing? What does she do?
I don't know.
So I get home and
Protege.
I've got whatever it is, like Microsoft, whatever, and I get on my thing and I'm checking my emails, and there's an email in my inbox, Belichick, Bill. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what I thought immediately? Thank God, finally one of my offensive linemen is busting my balls. All the stuff I've done and nobody's really come at me. And then when I read it, I was like, Copen, you son of a gun. Because he's the only one smart enough at the time that would have done this. So I spend all night, like I got home at like, let's say 10:30, and I missed the whole first week of the off-season program because I was at the meetings. I had to go. So the next day was Monday, so I'm going to be jumping in a week late. And I'm staying up till like 1:30 in the morning, and I finally find a service where I can send an email and make it look like it came from someone else. And I know this is how Copen did it. So I write one to Copen.
So you spent 6 hours trying
forever,
to
dude. Forever. But by the way, you know how it is, man. You find one and it says it works, and you test it and it doesn't work. You got to pay for something. I'm like, this is stupid. Anyway, found one, sent Copen an email, walk in the next morning, and I'm ready to go toe to toe. But I'm never gonna admit to shit. So when I walk past Copen, immediately he's like, "You sent me an email, didn't you?" I'm like, "Did you send me an email?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "You know what I'm talking about." I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." Because he has to admit first what he did, and then okay, let's talk about it. Because that was pretty good, Cope. That was pretty good. We go in, we get our workout done. He doesn't bring it up anymore. And then he comes back to me right when we get done working out, and he's like, "Hey, you did send me an email." I'm like, "No, I didn't send you an email." He's like, "Well, that's great because somebody sent me an email, and it looks like something you would do." And I'm like, "All right, well, if I get an email that looks like something you would do, I'll let you know, right?" And now as I'm walking out, we get done running, right, and I'm walking out for the day. I can't shake it. I'm like, he's not messing around. So I see Bears, and I walk in his office, and I'm like, "Hey, man," because if it wasn't Copen, there's no one else smart enough. Bears must have sent it from Bill's email on behalf of someone else. And the minute I say something to Bears, he's like, "Oh, no, Bill sent you an email." I'm like, "Come on, man." Not my first rodeo, right? He literally gets up, goes into Bill's office. He's in a staff meeting, gets his computer to fire up, and shows me in his Outlook on the sent box the email to me. And it's the email. And I'm like immediately, I'm like, "Oh, man, damn." Like, that goes up a notch, right?
What did the email say?
I'll read it for you. It's literally my prized possession. Yeah. So I get this, and now I'm like, "Oh, this is legit." So I take like 4 or 5 days because you know me, I can't not acknowledge this. I have to have some kind of a response. So I send my response, and immediately I get one back. And the essence of what he sent back was, "We're never going to do this again." Number one, because in the subject heading, it was concluding remarks, right? No joke. No joke.
I gotta use that.
Concluding remarks. And to this day, and what he wrote in there, I'm telling you, this, I could lose everything, every Super Bowl ring. I could care less, man. Possessions like that mean nothing to me. This, if
Let's
I
hear
ever
the
lost
email.
this,
You got to read it. You got to read
I'm
it.
getting there, man. It takes me. I got big fat fingers. So we've never had a conversation. Bill Belichick and I never once spoken about this ever. So, and by the way, I never break this out. It's one of these things that it kind of has to be in person, right? Okay, so here we go. All right, so just so you can see this, Saturday, April 7th, 2007 at 2:34 p.m. Okay?
So this is in undefeated season.
Yeah, going into it, yeah.
Well, let's hear it.
Yeah. In the subject heading, "Greetings from the NEP off-season program!" Exclamation point. All right. Oh, okay, here we go. In quotes, this is how it starts. Not like, "Hey, Matt," or "Just wanted to touch base with you, sir." "It's a chance for us all to bond and start putting the wheels in motion for the following season," left tackle Matt Light said in a recent interview. "The foundation is put in place at this time of year. What you do in March, April, May, and June, what you do in that mini camp and the passing camp, it has a direct effect on the beginning of your season, and you have to come out of the gate swinging pretty hard. That's what we've been able to do around here." End of quote. Not bad. I mean, that's Kool-Aid.
It's a good quote.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I got asked by a reporter in Hawaii about whatever, and I gave the typical, do your job speech, right? "Hey, Matt, just read this quote from you, ... What the fuck? ? And by the way, so you see, when I see this, that's got to be Copen. They're messing with me. That's not real. And Bill doesn't send emails. We have over 50 guys here working out today, and the one who isn't here does all the talking about how important the off-season is. Figures. A lot of your teammates were concerned about you and asked why you weren't here, but don't worry. We let them all know that you're in Hawaii for a week. If you want to get something productive done out there, why don't you have them move this meeting to the week before, all in caps, teams start their off-season programs? ? Very respectfully yours, Bill Belichick, head coach, New England Patriots. Okay? So, when you got that, if you got that, that's not from Bill Belichick. All right, so we've been through this. You guys got the background. It took me days, and I did elicit a little bit of help from a family member who's far smarter than me, and I send him this. Now, and again, I will say, my wife from day one always told me, he's going to fire you. Please don't do that, Matt. Please don't leave here with that device. Don't put that on anyone's, whatever. Don't shock. Don't do what you're thinking about doing every single day, because that will get you fired. This one, I did kind of think maybe I was going to get fired. Coach B. And I thought that was awesome. That was the way to go, right? "First of all, allow me to apologize for not responding earlier to your prior email. It has been my experience, limited as it may be, that a reflexive response does not serve anyone well. Thus, I felt it necessary to permit time to militate a more measured, philosophic response. As you are certainly better aware than anyone, we as human beings are not automatons. Rather, we stand as a compilation of free-willed rational beings. Given this, it becomes critical to impose a measure of collectivism for the benefit of the order. I realize that the concept of collectivism strikes a measure of aberrance in our rugged individualistic society, but it is such a collective good that allows us all to benefit. And it does not require a study of the incunabulum to realize that both coaches and players gain from a measured collective relationship with the financial bully pulpit held by the owners. Given this, and despite my commitment to the off-season programs, I felt compelled to move forward the collective good of the players through attendance at the PA meetings. In the long run, it is generally for the benefit of all. My commitment to this end is in no way a negative reflection on my dedication and commitment to optimizing my personal performance to the greatest advantage of the team. Your humble free-willed left tackle, Matt Light. Now, that said, I figure I covered all bases, right?
That's an email.
Bases, and I'm good. And I kind of got off my chest why I felt like I needed to be in attendance, right? Like, it didn't seem like that big of a deal. I had no idea that this would be the response to that gibberish. And I got to tell you, this is one of my favorite things in life. Again, April 11th, 2007, 12:45 p.m. It's like a midday email.
Midday.
Weird, huh? Concluding remarks. You're going to love this. Matt, I need some time to let this one settle, but I'll start with this. Why don't you consider dedicating yourself to having fewer mistakes and not leading the team in, once again, being the most penalized player on offense? Your numerous false start penalties, in evidence again at the Pro Bowl, and other transgressions like taunting continue to make me think that your distractions off the field affect your concentration on the field. My advice, if you have an interest in improving your performance, would be to minimize your distractions and focus on maximizing your physical development and technique in the off-season program. That 1 week really killed him. I continue to feel that you were totally out of line commenting on the importance of the program when you were not in attendance with the rest of the team. Now, this is what it gets great. Finally, Matt, there is no need to use multi-syllable words in your email that neither you nor I know. I am unimpressed. This will conclude my email exchange, and I will return to my efforts in trying to do a better job in coaching this football team. As for the PA meetings, don't worry about helping me. As I have said many times, and I remind myself, the best thing we can do for ourselves and our families is win, all in caps. Try to keep that in your mind in your quest for world peace. Sincerely, respectfully yours, Bill Belichick, head coach, New England Patriots. That's it, man. That's all I need in life. And we've never once acknowledged it.
Bill doesn't do human stuff.
What a quote.
Dude.
What a quote.
Well, he's doing human stuff now. Real damn
He's
human.
on Instagram, for crying out loud.
Yeah, you see, he probably doing this all in the grand scheme to prove fucking Matt Light wrong.
To have an email 15 years ago.
What?
Do you have an email from 3 weeks ago?
Probably.
What's that at? Like, it's not a Hotmail. Is it at patriots.com? What is it?
What is
Bill Belichick at?
Do you have Patriots emails?
I think so, but I didn't use it. You had all that, but you could change it.
That's awesome.
The mailroom was crazy too.
No way. Oh, like letters and stuff?
Crazy.
Fans sending in the wildest things.
I remember when you're younger, you'd get a couple pieces of mail and you'd be like, yeah, I'm making it. Sick. Sign a couple cards, give them back. Kevin Falk, when we were in the off season, I was recovering from some groin stuff. He would take his mail, and while he was getting treatment, he would sign his shit and give it to, sign it.
Multitasking.
Multitask.
I love it. Falk. Beast.
I also saw a man buy $5,000 worth of lottery tickets, scratchers, and scratched them while we were both rehabbing something. About $5,000 for scratchers. There's a lot of
That's
scratchers.
another Matt Light prank.
Kevin Falk. Oh, wait. Kevin Falk did that?
Nah, I forgot who it was. But I kind of know who it was, but I'm not going to put him on blast.
Here's our last clip here.
And one of the coolest things we've done on this show, going to the Hamptons and getting to interview John Bon Jovi.
Oh, man.
Over those old Giants stories and Super Bowl
25?
The wide right.
25 sounds right.
Yeah, wide right.
25. You're right, Kyler. You're right.
Yeah, Super Bowl 25. Here's the time John Bon Jovi told us about taking a young Bill Belichick on tour. One of the relationships I'm so fascinated to hear about is with your relationship with a young, nerdy Bill Belichick, who's 30 years old at the time.
Yeah.
What was Bill like when he's not, looked at like the Darth Vader?
Look, and right, it's like I've only ever seen him on the other side, even with Mr. Kraft, who now is a dear, dear, dear friend of mine. He says, you don't even know the other side of Bill. Like, I only got to see Bill when he would allow me to come to camp, right? Allow me to come to the games and all the access that I had. But after the small talk and the stuff, what I saw of his professional side stopped there.
Yeah.
All right. I was allowed to come to a meeting here and there, whatever, right? But you know what I mean? My professional relationship, the reason why I had access for so many years, for so long with those people, was because I knew when to leave the room. I knew.
Yeah.
I always knew to leave the room. But going back to the fun, young Bill Belichick with his first wife, Debbie, who I knew very well back in, the Giants and then in Cleveland and everywhere else where he went, even to the Jets. He came on the road with us. Like, few people know that he was a closet drummer. And Tico gave him some lessons, and we bought him a kit. And he was trying to learn how to play the drums.
Bill knows how to play the drums.
Well enough. Yeah.
Did Bill ever make it out to the China bar?
I don't think I don't know if Belichick ever went to the China Club. But he would come on the road with us, like especially in Europe, where he could come and hang for a week at a time. And we were playing this massive stadiums, and I had written a fan letter to Mick Jagger. And we were playing the same stadiums as the Stones. It was 95. And I said, one of the bucket list items is I want to open for the Stones. And the response was, well, you're playing the same venues, and we certainly ain't going to pay you. We're the Rolling Stones. I said, I don't want any money. I'm asking for one thing. I want a photograph with the Stones and Bon Jovi together. And my son, Jesse, was 3 months old at the time. And the Stones went, yeah, cool. So we went. I took Bill. The Stones head of security. Oh my God, I got to remember his name. I can picture him. This is a sin. Was a great college football player who could have been like a Hall of Famer. And Bill saw him and immediately went over to him and said, great to see you, blah, 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 because he played with Jack Ham and some of the great Pittsburgh Steelers. And Belichick could now feel at home.
Yeah.
And he was with us. And he was backstage at the Rolling Stones. And so then we went with him, we took him to Paris, and we took him to Italy, and we took him, all around with us. And he was just on the plane, but getting to see him now in our environment. And that was all cool for those who don't believe those stories of that warm, wonderful side that I know of him is true. It is true. It's all true. Another beautiful anecdotal story is 96. He was the D coordinator at the Pats. Pats are playing Green Bay in New Orleans. On the Saturday afternoon walkthrough, stadium was empty. I got to go to walkthrough. I'm at walkthrough, and Mr. Kraft comes over and he says, tell me more about your friend. Bill? Yeah, just tell me more about Bill. And I start telling him about his family life, his this life, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if it resonated or not come 2000, but it may have. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. We walked back to the hotel. It wasn't as big a hoopla in 96 as it became by 2000 and then, all the years of the Pats and all this. We could walk back to the hotel. So we stopped at a bar on Saturday afternoon before the fucking Super Bowl. We had a couple of those big sugary hurricane drinks.
Yeah.
There was a picture on his desk until he left the office of us drunk on this curb in New Orleans the day before the Green Bay Pats Super Bowl.
Wow. Who says he's not that fun?
He was a lot of fun.
Who says he's not that fun?
Sounds like fun to me.
So it really wasn't Bill or Tom. It was John Bon Jovi. That is the secret sauce.
Not at all.
Behind
the
Patriots dynasty.
No, the only thing that I want just the world to know is that Belichick worked harder than anyone, and he knows how to play as well as anyone.
Yeah.
That's probably the bottom line.
I mean, he's one of the most, I always explain to people that he's not, usually football coaches are old football players. He's like a type of person that should be a military war general.
Yeah, right.
Or a some kind of leader in a like a way bigger society type thing,
Right.
that became a football coach.
I understand that. You're right. He should have led armies or could have led armies.
He could have.
Yeah. Or navies, as I think there would.
He loves the Navy. He's a big Navy guy.
I know that. Yeah, I think that's a very good point.
Drummer Bill. Who would have
Tommy
known?
Lee Belichick. I love it.
Well,
What a great year.
what a year. What a year. Thankful for you guys. Great job, guys.
Likewise.
Pats on the backs
Good
all
year.
around.
Hell of a year.
Pats on the backs, but let's keep it up and keep getting better.
Amen.
Happy holidays to everyone out there, and I hope you guys have a great year. That's been another episode of Games with Names. We'll see you all in 2025. You know what's the biggest year? The next year. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Comment a game you want us to do, and remember,
Rate and review.
remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. Leave a message on the old hotline at 424-291-2290. We'll see you guys next year. Not week, year. Games with Names, a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.